Welcome in to Hits and Misses. My name is Toomey. This is my best friend Eric. So what's up to the people, bro?
What's going on, people?
Playoffs, playoffs. We are in the playoff throes of it. I think the 49ers are trying to make a furious drive late, but it seems a little bit out of reach. They're down by 10 points, so I don't think that's going to change. But we're basically here to talk through all of the biggest hits and misses of the fantasy week 16. We're obviously in the second round of the playoffs. There were some massive, crazy performances today, but there were definitely some performances that kicked people out of the playoffs. And so we're going to talk about all of that. Um, if you had to pick one of the players that was the most consequential today, good or bad, who would you say?
Probably Josh Allen. That's probably he got a lot of people to this point.
Hmm.
And if you were down and you had the confidence that you pretty much have Josh Allen left, or he was like, a late game and everything like that, or you're really banking on him to go ahead and put you ahead a whole lot, Josh Allen didn't really have one of those Josh Allen kind of games. So
Yep.
his impact is noteworthy for the past 2 weeks. But this week, I'm feel for you.
I was gonna let you start. We're gonna go negative or positive. Let's go negative. Let's go all negative.
It's
These
pretty
two
negative.
dudes right here, these fellas right here, boy, talk about kicking people out of the playoffs. Like this hurts. I'm no pun, but this hurts. Like real talk. Like let's start with Josh Allen because you brought him up. They're winning. They're gonna win the game. He was not great. He seemed that he was a little bit banged up, and seems like New England came out and smacked them in the mouth. Um,
Mhm.
I was worried about a game where he wouldn't have to do too much, and I guess this is kind of that game. Um, but the fact that they were down so early, I actually was hoping like, oh, we may get like one of those Josh Allen hero performances where he has to like pull out all the stops to make sure that they get the dub. But like the defense played well to stop New England. James Cook went off. He caught the only touchdown pass that Josh Allen had. And for a player who I had ranked as my QB1 and literally, I mean, consensus was he was a QB1 this week. That murdered people. Murdered
Yeah.
people. Maybe not as much as the second guy, but murdered people for sure.
Yeah, there's no getting away from it. I mean, Josh Allen, high draft capital, of course, will be next year as he should be, but it's just
Mhm.
the timing of this. You can't really be mad at Josh Allen. He probably brought you to this point if you don't deserve it based on your team, to be honest with you, by
Mhm.
putting up 50 burger pluses in the past 2 weeks. But this one, from that kind of fall off, you was at
Yeah.
least expecting average for what is Josh Allen. I got to look into the annals of this entire season. This might be like his worst game. So it's
It
just
could be.
really bad timing, to be honest with you.
I want to see if we could find that. Um, but maybe while I'm pulling that up, you could talk about your boy also because
I
Jamie's
can move to
providing a good
Jay
comment.
Hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts. I
Hmm.
apologize on behalf of Jalen Hurts for a lot of people. You can't predict when an injury is coming up. And if you saw the game, he actually did the thumbs up thing to the referee to probably suggest to him that he is okay. But a concussion for somebody in Jalen Hurts' position after you really need him during this time, like week 16 is big. You don't want any impacts to your spearheads. And Jalen Hurts, he went down. Number one, the worst time is early. As you can see, he only got 4.54 points. Only threw 4 times, had one completion, 41 yards total. And it no pun intended, like you said, it hurts.
That that the three carries for the 41 was the thing, because I was like, oh, we're about to have one of those Jay Hurts running all over the place. Like them giving the first touchdown to Saquon when he was still in the game surprised me. I was like, oh, they got to the one, give it to Jay. I thought that was guaranteed. We're at least getting a tutty, and honestly, that probably is gonna help. That would have helped a lot of people if they did that.
I was about to say the same thing. That is a
Yeah.
major thing that you didn't anticipate, almost as if they were trying to screw over these Hurts people. They weren't. It just so happens that, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that goes down. I hate to say it, but it
Yeah.
just appears that way.
Yo, that's I don't know that script. That script that we needed some revisions on that bad boy because that like
True.
that them giving him the carry was wild to me. I mean, it's Saquon, so it's whatever, but it's like, man, that's weird. And then he goes out, it's like, damn, that sucks. Like that really sucks if you have Jalen Hurts. Um,
Yeah.
you've been riding these two guys the biggest pause of all time. You've been riding these two studs for all. I'm trying to see how crazy I can make it. You've been riding these just buck studs here for like the whole season, and you like get to the fantasy playoffs. You get past the first round with like amazing performance from them. And then they both like just shit the bed. That's
Yeah.
it's just not unheard of, but I mean it's really tough because this literally my week. I mean my rankings were terrible. QB1 Josh Allen, QB2 was Jalen Hurts, and
Damn.
then this is just how it worked out. Like that was awful, 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 man.
Yeah, if you're impacted by this, I hope you got like a good defense or abnormal productivity from your kicker or something like that. For all I know,
Yeah,
because this is really bad timing.
or the
Woo! This that dude.
so maybe you make it if you had this man, because we're gonna talk today. All right, so I'm a Colts fan. Eric's a Panthers fan. We're gonna talk about our guys. We're gonna talk about our guys, and they were the top two running backs on the week, so it's fair. Well, H may have changed that now, but
Yeah.
that was kind of like a garbage little run. Now, JT, I told you on our pre-show call, like people were asking me Patrick Taylor or Jonathan Taylor. Now I'm gonna own up to my Patrick Taylor takes later. Don't let's just forget about that for now. But Jonathan Taylor, I definitely said Jonathan Taylor over Patrick Taylor. I said that was very clear, 100%. I was like JT at the very least was gonna get a touchdown because of how much the media was beating him up for dropping that ball before he ran to the end zone. I was like, if there's any touchdown props, take them. Like just whatever you can do, just take that. At the very least, even if he just had one big run and that was it, he was gonna have that. He gave you two massive runs. I think he was over 21 miles per hour on both. Like that this is what you needed out of JT all season. This is why a lot of people drafted in the first round. And if you were able to make it here with JT, he got you to the finals. Like he got you to the finals today if you have JT. I refuse to believe there's a team out there who didn't make it unless you were facing Chuba and Achin or something like that. You know what I mean? Like if you got JT, let me know if you didn't make it to the finals because you definitely should have.
Yeah, Taylor went off. And as you said, you knew that he had that extra oomph, that push, because they were dogging this man. I saw that play
All
numerous
week.
times throughout the week. They were talking about him like he trash. But there were also times
Yeah.
during this actual show, we said there's potential to be on a little bit of an alert for Jonathan Taylor. And for him to come back with this game, it just staples what his name is. This man
Yeah.
was the rushing yards, leader within the past 5 years. He still got it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and he showed it. I mean, that's almost 40 points, 29 carries, 218 yards. And as you said, he went off. Like he made that defense. You don't see a pro defense get ran on like that.
Yeah.
So,
And Titans
that
especially,
generally
like
doesn't happen.
the Titans had been outside of the last few weeks a good run defense. Over the last few weeks, the wheels have fallen off. Like we've
Yeah.
seen, like I remember it was only like 2 weeks ago where the Commanders like just dumped all over them. Like the Titans have started really to, I don't want to say give up, but it doesn't look great on that side of the ball defensively. But that's the
Yeah.
thing with the Colts that I've been saying as a diehard Colts fan, and this is just a mini rant. Like, why can't this should be the game plan every week? You give him 29 carries. Anthony Richardson threw the ball 10 times. Now that's really extreme, but that's where I need him to live in the teens, high teens. Like
Yeah.
run the ball with him, run the ball with JT as much as possible. They got Ryan Kelly back, which is a big deal. That's their starting center. He's been an all pro in the past. You got Quentin Nelson taking people out on his pull on like his guard pulls and stuff like that. Like this
Saw
is
that.
what the Colts should be. And the defense has actually been very like they're getting their hands on the ball a lot over the last few weeks. They've just been getting disappointed by the offense. Run the ball with JT, run the ball with Anthony Richardson, play action pass off of that with A Rich. You're gonna have wide open receivers and tight ends. Like this is what the Colts need to do, and they have a very slim chance of making the playoffs, but they face the Giants next week, so I'm gonna take them in that one too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Unless you mentioned Anthony Richardson was moving some people out the way too. He was getting those yards as well. And
Yep.
those of you who see those 3 touchdowns for Taylor, one of
Mhm.
those is basically a gift because they kind of took a touchdown away from Richardson, and then the
Yeah.
next play they gave it to Taylor where he ran it in. So this was like a layup served up alley oop game for Taylor. I
It was
hope
just
that
a
most of you who have him benefited from this.
Yeah, it was a monster game versus a nuclear explosion that it actually turned out to be. If
Yeah,
they gave that rightfully granted touchdown to Anthony Richardson, he should have gotten that one. Like he
yeah,
definitely should have gotten that one. Like his elbow went down, the ball was clearly past the line. I thought that was rather easy, but they scored on the next play. Now I'm gonna
exactly.
pass the ball to you.
Chubba Wubba, Chuba Hubbard, Bryce Young. We coming around, you know what I'm saying? We just ruined the Arizona Cardinals day. For the Cardinals fans out there, I apologize, not really. Marvin Harrison Jr. ain't nobody. Chuba Hubbard, though, 32.4 points, 25 carries,
Hmm.
151 yards, 2 touchdowns. He caught 4 of 5 targets for 13 yards. The dude said it in the game while it was playing today. He's really the soul of the team. It's actually
Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard that has really turned the team around. I would also say, as they mentioned during the broadcast as well, Adam Thielen. Thielen is also helping out Bryce Young. Bryce Young has a lot more confidence. You can see that he's in the game and it looks like he's having fun. This
Yeah.
is the Bryce Young that we wish we would have seen a lot sooner. As you can see, his stats up there: 27.1 points, 17 to 26 opportunities, throwing the ball, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 carries himself. I want to go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah.
He covered some ground today. So
Mhm.
Bryce Young, he might not be the biggest dude in the world, but he's getting much more comfortable running when he sees those opportunities. If he can identify when to take these kinds of risks, this is what I'd like to go ahead and see going into next year. So Chuba Hubbard, hopefully my man who was the rookie that we had for a few games and then he hurt the same knee again. I'm hoping he comes back a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Coker, aka we call him Cokehead, if you're a good old Carolina Panther fan.
Is that
Jalen
real?
Coker. Yeah, they really do call him that. It's kind of
Oh
funny.
wow.
So hopefully he comes around and I don't have anything to say about Leggett.
Oh my god. Like, what did you say? I'm sorry on Leggett. I missed that
I
part.
have nothing to say. I'm still not over it. So he's on the
Yeah,
team.
he's on the team. He didn't play today, at least. At least that's rude. But yeah, Bryce Young. Um, he's scooting a little bit. Like so, he ran today 5 times. Over the last few weeks, he's run around. I call it an average of like 5 times a game. He can
Yep.
run. Like he's gotten two. He's gotten 3 rushing touchdowns in the last 4 games. Like that is an underutilized part of his game. That is something we saw at Alabama. He's a small guy, but you would just hope that you would continue to play really well. Hey, girl, how's it going? You okay? You just sit there and listen. You're gonna make me talk about the colors while we're talking about the Panthers. She doesn't like the Panthers, I guess. But yeah, but Bryce Young, I
Oh,
think that him utilizing his legs is gonna be really helpful. I'm gonna. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next topic. Let's see. All right, so this guy Bijan, man, he's been very good all year. We talked about it last time that he is clearly the I think he was the right choice for RB1 of those 3 players. Like clearly to me, Saquon would have been the number 1 overall player. But of the 3 players we were discussing, it was Brees, it was CMC, it was Bijan. I think Bijan clearly cemented himself as like the right choice of those 3 players. And the thing that I was thinking this week, because I didn't put Michael Penix up here, I didn't have him as a miss because I was not expecting him to do anything week 1.
mm,
There was a lot of people think that he was going to come out and like ball out crazy. I was like, I think
I
that's
like it.
insane. Like, I think
Yeah.
that's insane. I like him a lot. I think he's going to be a very good player.
Hmm.
Like Bo Nix, like it's funny. We have Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, and Penix. All of them were at least 5th-year seniors in college. Jaden Daniels was the only one who came out of the gate like firing. Even Bo Nix, who's been played better the prior to like the last week or so, has played really well. He wasn't playing that well early. I would not expect Penix to play that well early either. Are you okay? All right. Okay. You don't like Penix either. You're not liking any of these topics today. But yeah, basically, I was just really surprised that people were thinking, like, should I start Penix or should I start Anthony Richardson? Should I start Penix or Darnold? I was like, stash Penix. Do not play Penix until you absolutely have to. So I'm glad that Bijan continues to get the work. They're continuing to be a heavy run first team. And so that's something that I'm like he should be shepherding you to a championship.
Yeah. Between those 3 players you mentioned earlier, Bijan is clearly, without question,
You there?
the number 1
Did you
guy
freeze?
between Bruce and Christian McCaffrey. So it's no comparison. I mean, Bijan is that guy. I have nothing but positive things to say about Bijan. He is a really, really good running back. You should never be upset for the next number of years having him on your team. I
Mm-hmm.
really feel that way.
100%. All right, so I'm going to kick us to a commercial break. I feel like I'm having some technical difficulties and some familial difficulties. So we're gonna talk about all the other players who were killing it this week, who got us to the fantasy championship on the other side of this break.
Oh, it's the Podfather, and last year's fastest growing fantasy platform is back. It's Smash Up Fantasy. They've got these leagues where you redraft your team every week and you get smarter as the season progresses. Now, Smash Up also has a patented power up card. These are actual cards that can boost your individual players or your entire team. So if you think Lamar Jackson's going to run wild all over the Kansas City Chiefs in week 1, play the Scramble Spikes Smash Up card to turbocharge his rushing points. And that's not all. Smash Up also is introducing the world's first single-player fantasy game. Think Street Fighter meets fantasy football, where you can go toe-to-toe versus an increasingly difficult fantasy football boss and qualify for the postseason tournament of champions. So test your skills against me, the Podfather, and the Player Profiler team today at smashupsports.com and use code PlayerProfiler. The code is Player Profiler to get special perks like extra lineups for these weekly tournaments and so much more. And it's all free at smashupsports.com.
All right, we're back at it. While Toomey shakes out of the matrix there, I'll go ahead and continue on about Bijan. Anybody who do you think, like, if as I think about it, Bijan, Saquon, and Henry, they are definitely first round draft picks going into next year. Yeah, while you're in the matrix there, Toomey, I was just thinking about it as far as running backs in general, who would be round one pretty much picks, and I'm pretty confident is Bijan.
Yeah, it 100% is Bijan.
Yeah.
Saquon's obviously going to be up there again. There's a lot of candidates. I mean, Jameer Gibbs, depending on what we see from
Oh,
Montgomery, I'm sure
yes.
they're talking about him possibly making it back from the playoffs, but Gibbs was amazing. But Bijan's path to touches is clearer than anyone else's. And so I think that Bijan will probably be the 101, but it's still a lot of season left. So we'll see
Yeah,
how it goes.
for sure.
All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, that's what's up. Shout out to Smash Up. Appreciate that, Jamie. All right, let's see. Who do we have next? I do want to go negative again. I don't know where. Uh some of these players, yeah, we talked about them slightly.
Oh
I
yeah,
gotta
I
talk about
did take a
Trevor.
dig at these
Um
guys.
yeah, man. So I don't you should hopefully not get kicked out of the playoffs because of tight end, but if you are, the 5 points doesn't do much for you. The Marvin Harrison Jr. thing is the one that's kind of concerning, and clearly his stats are incorrect on the screen. He didn't have 117 yards on 15 carries. Um, but he was a player who, in this matchup, should have done really well. This was zone against the Panthers. This is a matchup where Kyler, there's an opportunity for both of these guys to get a ton of targets, and it just was not the case. And I'm just struggling with how much he is out of the top two receivers. Like, he's so far away from being a top two guy. Like, you have Brian Thomas, who went ballistic. You have Malik Neighbors, who wasn't great but was still better. Like, he's at least getting the targets on his team. And then you have Marvin Harrison Jr. just sucking ass consistently. This was a player who I was thinking was going to bounce back. He was a top 24 receiver for me, so I told people to start him in like 2 wide receiver leagues. And Jesus, bro, like, I was like, all right, this is the week that he's going to bounce back. Great matchup. They're going to have to throw. This is a must win. So obviously the Cardinals are going to win the game. And then that just none of that panned out. So yeah, maybe I'm personally bitter, but I'm also not super personally bitter because I did not draft him in any leagues.
I don't think it's bitter with Marvin Harrison Jr. going into next year. It's going to be interesting to read what so-called elite analysts have to say about him, because you can't really just go off of hype after you've already been in the NFL for 1 year and we've seen what you do, as well as seeing other rookie
Mm-hmm.
wide receivers do better than you. You mentioned two. I would throw Lad McConkey in there as well, who I'd be much more comfortable having over Marvin Harrison Jr.
That's fact.
Like
Yep.
Marvin Harrison,
Yep.
and with the hype relative to him coming into this season, I'll come out here. He's been awful, trash. This is what he's been. Like the team doesn't have the confidence to go to him. He's never stepped up and really said, "Give me the ball." You don't even see it out there on the field that he's like, I want the ball in my hands more because I want to be a difference maker. Like it's not there. It's not happening for him. I have nothing positive to say about Marvin Harrison Jr. Trey McBride, this was a game where everybody was saying, even his quarterback says, I'm going to get him into the end zone. The defense heard that and was like, no, you're not. And so I apologize for people who also felt that he was going to provide for them and produce because he didn't. But Trey McBride, he has been there even without a touchdown. Pretty solid season. So I would feel comfortable picking him where I picked him at this year and still having high regard for him going into next season. Marvin Harrison Jr., massive question mark. Massive. I don't know where to steer when it comes to Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr. So the film guys, like you said, I think film breakdown this offseason is going to be more important on him than like most other players. But I worry about him succeeding with a player like Kyler on a consistent basis. Kyler is a feel quarterback. I know a lot of people made a lot of jokes about like the video game shit, but like he definitely doesn't do a lot of film study. He really does go off of the feel of what he sees. And so there's no world where like this is open automatic. I'm going to this player whenever I see X. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's not like there's not prescripted places he's going with the ball. He kind of feels how it goes. It does look like playground style because it is to him. Like he lets the feel of the game, he lets it flow to him. And Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't that type of quarterback. He's not a scramble drill type of quarterback. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a crazy elite route runner. Crazy elite. Like he has some Keenan Allen style like get open ability, especially in short and intermediate, and they're not using him like that at all. Like he would be a dominant big slot in the NFL. But they're just not being creative with him. That's why I really did love I was like, oh, this is almost their new Larry Fitz. Like they're gonna use him as a big slot, like they were starting to use Larry Fitz later in his career. Not at all. They're not doing any of that creative shit with him. And I think a lot of that is because of Kyler. Like they obviously want to run the ball, pound the ball, pound the ball, pound the ball. And so one of our hits obviously was Connor. Before he got hurt, he was beasting it. But to me, if he was in a system like Minnesota, where I'm gonna hit my landmark and my guy is streaking open, I'm getting it with my good arm strength to that player. That feels like a great system for him. Or even with the Joe Burrows, like I'm just talking about great elite quarterbacks, but like this is just a player who needs a quarterback who knows when certain routes and certain places are open and gets the ball to the receiver immediately without thinking about it, without thinking about scrambling, without trying to make some bigger thing happen. Like, no, I hit my mark, balls in hand. I hit my mark, balls in hand. He's the type of receiver to me who should be like Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't have a great day, but he got like 9 of 11 for like 80. Like that should be like a standard game for him. He should be getting the ball all the time. His skill set dictates that. And no offense to the Panthers, but they don't got anyone who could guard him, including J.C. Horn. And they just didn't utilize him. Like it is frustrating. And the thing that concerns me is I don't see that changing because I mean quarterback. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of is what it is. He'll get better and he'll learn how to play better with Kyler. But we saw this even with like D Hop later. Like it's not the same. If you have a player who just I know how to get open, I know how to run really good routes. You just got to put the ball in my hands when like the second I'm open, ball. You know what I mean? And that's just not Kyler.
Understood.
Very frustrating. Very, very, very frustrating.
To say the least.
I want to talk about James Conner, but I don't even think the thing I had of him loaded. He had a great game. He went out with a knee injury, and so really quickly, it's not super clear if one, this is going to be a long-term injury, but two, who the direct backup would be. Everyone would assume it's Trey Benson, and I would say of all the people to pick up, you pick up Trey Benson. He's the best running back on the roster outside of James Conner. But he was inactive this week, and he didn't even practice all week. The only other players that had active were Michael Carter, who fumbled, and I believe it was Tony Jones, who both of them were on the practice squad before the end of the week. So it's not like they were locked in on the roster. Amari DeMarcado was injured. Terry Benson was injured. That's why James Conner, it was a great matchup for him to just get a ton of work. I think that Trey Benson would still be the pickup, but you obviously got to keep an eye on what's happening in that the injury report for the Cardinals, because I do think that if Trey Benson does get starting work, there's like championship winning opportunity there based on his skill set alone. That's something to just consider, because this is a team, like we saw with James Conner today. They want to pound the rock first, no matter what. Even when they were losing, they were still pounding the rock with James Conner. So
Yep.
that just keep an eye on him for sure. Um,
Yeah.
we got kind of far, and it's hard, especially us like kind of being pseudo fans of this area, this team. It's hard not to talk about this, man. This is crazy, bro.
We
This
went off.
broke football rules. 5 turnovers, can't win a game. 5 turnovers, you just don't win in the NFL. You just don't do it. They say F that. Apparently Alameda Zacchaeus and Jamison Crowder were the difference makers today. Because it was not Brian Robinson. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
It was not him. But man, Jaden Daniels, bro. I know there was a little bit of debate between him and Bo Nix. And even I was thinking, like, I don't know, Bo Nix is starting to like creep up on his territory. Bo Nix had a fine day. But he had a fine first half and awful second half. And if you look at these two players, you think, who comes through in the clutch when his team needs it, playoffs on the line? Jaden Daniels has been doing that consistently, especially in that stadium. That kind of it's starting to look like a scary place to play. Like
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels has a little bit of fourth quarter magic in that. I think it's Northwest Arena now. It used to be
Yep.
FedEx, but yeah, he has a little bit of magic in him. Late in games, 9 carries for 82 yards, which is phenomenal. 5 touchdowns, even with 2 interceptions against what people consider over the last few weeks the best defense in the league. Yes, they played against Kenny Pickett for most of the game, but they played against Saquon Barkley in that defense too. AJ Brown still went off. Like, I think that Jaden Daniels rock solid solidified himself as offensive rookie of the year today.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Even that last pass, when you were describing what it would take for Marvin Harrison Jr. in order to really step into him being the best player he could be, you can see how Daniels saw where Braun let the man get past him. Even the announcer says he didn't open up his hips to cover that window, and he just hit the guy right there on the money for the touchdown. This is stuff that we see middle of their career quarterbacks not even do consistently. And this is a rookie who's taking the Commanders. Commanders been doo-doo since I first took breath. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't never been on this rock and the Commanders was good. Ever. That's honest truth.
That's
all
facts,
you hear
man.
about is Doug Williams and Art Monk and stuff like that. You gotta go back that far.
We don't know them bros, bro.
Precisely.
Who
Jaden Daniels is that guy. He doesn't have to say anymore. This is 5 touchdowns with just over 250 yards. That's wild.
Yeah.
82 yards on the ground. He knows when to pick and choose properly when to do it. And then when he does run, the dude is fast. He's slick. He makes it happen. 36.48 points, 24 of 39, and think of his receiving core.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Because Terry had a good game, but it wasn't like you see the stat line. You think Terry went for like 200 yards and like 3 of the touchdowns.
Precisely.
Like he only had 1 touchdown. Hey, buddy.
It was a great
chips?
touchdown.
Hey, Mom.
Olamide Zacchaeus.
Okay.
Jamison Crowder. Zach Ertz ain't even do nothing.
Zach Ertz was trash. That kind of disappointed me. Like, I was thinking, all right, Philly revenge. He's gonna have like a decent game or something. He only gave us 2 points. But man, like, and Terry, that ball Terry caught was nasty. That over the shoulder, like like, so we play football. I did not play any position where you had to do that. But I 90% of those balls get dropped in practice.
Yeah.
Like in high school, I'm talking about, like, when you see those over the shoulder drills are not easy, bro. In full pads, that's difficult with no pads. But like full pads, full speed, somebody chasing you down. Quentin Mitchell, who's been very good defensive player,
Yep.
right over him, and he's probably going to win. He may win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Terry just, I mean, he like Jaden just dimed that up, man. Like this kid is phenomenal. I want to see who do they play next week, 'cause I don't know if they locked up their spot, but they're very close to it. Yeah, they play Atlanta at home. I think they'll be able to take that against Penix on the road. Because the Commanders are at home in that game. It feels like they play Atlanta already. I think they play the Saints. Um, yeah, Jaden Daniels is a beast. Jaden Daniels is phenomenal. And if you have Jaden Daniels, congratulations, you are one step closer to a fantasy championship. And him facing the Falcons in that crazy stadium where he keeps making magic, you should be straight.
Yeah, I actually have Jaden Daniels. I always pretty much he has his draft capital was so great. Everybody was waiting on quarterbacks, and because he was not, brand new, no one knew he would be what he was. So he reminds me of the year after Lamar Jackson's rookie year. I was able to get him his second year in like the 11th round, where he was an MVP the first time. Daniels, I'm glad to see another player like that bring some kind of talent to the game. Daniels, I mean, he's fantastic. I have nothing else to say. That 82 yards rushing is huge.
It is. It is. That's the Lamar Jackson. You know what I mean? Like that's why you get the comparisons. Not going to give you a ton of rushing touchdowns, but can break stuff open. And that honestly, and I know we've gone on. I know on Jay Daniels for a while now, but the thing that I was super concerned about was he just took some stupid hits in college. Like there would be some times he would just not go out of bounds, not go down, and he is not a big player like that. But it's nice to see like he's protecting himself, even on that super late. I think it was a fourth down in the fourth quarter, and he broke off a big run. Um, he had to go get those yards, but for the most part, he's protecting himself. So it's good to see.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
we'll keep it positive real quick. We'll talk about this game. Fun game, really,
Oh,
really,
yeah.
really fun game, man. I think that Jay Jettas, man, is just nasty, bro. Like he was having a solid game, but that late touchdown, this cat is just ridiculous, man. Um, I picked the Seahawks to win. I thought, and it felt like they were on the path to until Jay
Yeah.
Jettas caught that late one. Um, yeah, he's trying to battle Chase right now for that wide receiver one, but it's just cool to see how like consistently amazing this man is. No, I don't care who the quarterback is. In preseason, we were like, oh my gosh, Jay Jettis, we could not consider him like a top 4 receiver just because of Sam Darnold shit.
Mhm.
Look at that now. Like
Yeah.
people who drafted Jay Jettis, you like a lot of them. I know some people who drafted him near the bottom of the first round. Like stealing. That's just stealing right there. You got Jay Jettas and people are like dumping on Chase too. Like both of them kind of like mid first rounders. Like, I don't know. Not much to say. Consistent greatness with Jay Jettas. And then we have the receivers for the Seahawks. Continuing to see the number one receiver step up for the Seahawks and JSN. I'm glad that's no longer a controversial statement. That is fact. JSN is the wide receiver one on the Seahawks. DK Metcalf had a fine day, but that fine day was almost exclusively the touchdown he caught.
Yeah.
I thought that he was actually gonna have I thought he could have had like one of those monster DK days, but I was at least happy when I told people to start him. He at least gave you 14-ish points. But yeah, JSN is the guy. JSN is the reliable target in the middle outside of Kenneth Walker, who had a ton of targets today. But JSN in this Ryan Grubb scheme, we were hearing it in the offseason and didn't really buy into it the first few weeks. But Grubb's scheme heavily focuses on the slot. And I'm it's glad to see like some of that research kind of paid off. If you got JSN, like congrats to you too. You should hopefully be advancing.
Yeah. Jackson Smith and Jigba is the wide receiver to manage out there in Seattle. DK Metcalf, they were even getting at him a little bit on the announcer on the show. They were saying like for that interception, he should have committed more to cut off Gilmore and probably get the ball himself. I don't know why he jumped stupid early to go ahead and catch a ball that was nowhere near him when that actual interception happened. And then on the last play of the game, his own quarterback was mad at him because he didn't break out of the route the way that he anticipated him to. You'd have to say, I mean, DK underperforms. I'm gonna just keep it real. Like given his talent, the size, speed, strength, all that you see, he don't really turn it into too much, to be honest with you. He's good, but you would expect somebody like that to be a lot better, much more consistently. JSN is the dude. You got to tip your hat off to him. If JSN is taken, you'll reluctantly next year go ahead and grab DK.
Yeah, like the thing with DK, man, like you said it exactly. So you always get afraid of the person in the draft process who, like, they always say, like, runs like Tarzan, plays like Jane. And I'm not gonna pretend like DK's
Damn,
in. Yeah, that's
that's
that's what
wild.
people say in the pre-draft process. Is a very rude comment. I did not make that up. That is rather common when they say
That's crazy.
runs like Tarzan, plays like Jane.
God, wow. How do they really feel? Unbelievable.
That's what I mean, like, it's something I hear all the time, but your reaction to it makes me really truly understand how disrespectful that is.
Yeah.
That's like mad disrespectful, bro. DK,
Ouch.
I did not make that up, DK. I did not make that up, bro. You faster, stronger, all that than me. I did not make that up. But this is the fear for that, because obviously he's shown like great capabilities. Hi, buddy. Hey, Jay. That's what Jay is. Sign language.
Hmm.
Okay. This is ASL. You guys are learning it.
Hey.
L. DK. L. So. Oh, she's not happy about it. But DK Metcalf, like, this was a concern to me. Obviously, the skill, the speed, the strength, all that stuff is there. But over time, and it's just kind of gotten too late now, you would hope he would have sculpted some refinement in his route running. Like, it's just all the things you see from him not being super refined in his route running, him giving up on routes down the field, him every single time we have a tough corner matchup, him like consistently set it your clock to it. Will underperform against a really elite corner. Like, he just cannot surpass them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to be able to get over that if you're going to be built like DK and have all that hype, be a high second round pick. Like, that's the reason he wasn't a first round pick. Like, people were like, hopefully that develops, but it didn't, and it still hasn't. And that's why you see a player like JSN who is not super speedy at all. Like, he's not the fastest dude at all. This man is just an elite route runner. Like, you were having Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave when they came out the year before saying, like, nah, JSN's the best receiver of us three type shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, JSN is a dog, but he is a dog with the intricacies and the fundamentals of being a wide receiver. And so that's why he's continuing to succeed. And I think that this is only going to continue in Seattle because JSN is QB friendly and DK is not. Like, you would hope he is, unless he's like wide open. Like, he's not super QB friendly. And now you got a player like JSN who is now getting your touchdowns too. That was the one thing you could at least rely on DK for. Now you're not even consistently getting that. You have a player who's going to consistently battle you for that. And Tyler Lockett has completely disappeared. So,
yep.
Who was that?
Tyler Lockett? He on that
I don't
team
even remember
still?
who I said. I don't know who that is.
Yeah. Next.
Seems like a fine young gentleman.
Yeah. Good guy.
Let's see. So we talked about these guys. Let's just touch on these guys real quick. This hurt because, like, the Jets they've actually been performing like a consistent over team over the last few weeks. And so everyone thought, like, you got Stafford and the Rams coming in, they're about to light that up. Not at all. Did not happen. Stafford gave you 7 points at quarterback. It's crazy business. If you made it with Stafford, you were clearly like streaming quarterbacks, and this is the type of thing that really hurts your feelings. Like, this is like, you may have streamed him over like Darnold. You may have streamed him over Goff. You clearly, I mean, you shouldn't have streamed him over Caleb Williams today. Like, this, he was a terrible, terrible play today. And the fact that they only threw 19 times for 110 yards, like, what are we talking about? Still gave you his interception. He loves to do that.
Yeah.
And the receivers, even though, I mean, Puka was fine, 13 points, but that's kind of like, you want more from Puka if you have Puka. But my man, Cooper Kupp, didn't give you 0 again, but like 3 for 24 yards. Like, what the fuck? What are we doing, bro? Like, Eric, what's happened? Has he fallen off?
Yeah, I was about to say, with Cooper Kupp and the Rams over these holidays while you sipping on that eggnog, go outside and pour a little bit down there for Cooper Kupp. You know what I'm saying? He done with the Rams. He ain't what he was. You know what I'm saying? Go and water the grass a little bit on his behalf because 0 points the week before and 5.4 right now. It's not looking good. And they had all those trade rumors. Do you need any more indicators that his time is up with this team? He should go ahead and pack them up.
Yeah,
to another team.
It's kind of sad. Like, I mean, because you got Puka getting 9 targets, Cooper Kupp getting 3 of them. Like Puka got 9 of 19 targets, man. You know what I mean? Like that target share is wild business, bro. Like, did he have 8 of his 14 catches? Yeah, he got 8 of Stafford's 14 catches. 6 catches amongst every other player on the team, including Kyron Williams, Tyler Higbee, who scored, and obviously Cooper Kupp, who got 3 of them. He's lucky he got those 3.
Yeah.
Like, this team is number 1 in the NFC West right now. But man, it's just I don't even know who I'm talking to. Like, if you have Cooper Kupp, if you made it this week with Cooper Kupp, it's kind of like I don't. I mean, you clearly didn't make it another round. Like if you got lucky last week, you know what I mean? You got lucky last week making it past the first round with Cooper Kupp. It may have just had the luck strike you in the bad way this week, though.
His consistency is gone. It's not like he's not capable of a big game, because someone who understands the game as well as he does, I'm sure he could come in through a pinch. But the way that this team was utilizing him, and him being the Triple Crown guy, what was it, just 2 years ago? Yeah. It's like out of nowhere, they just like, nah, we done with you. He used to be the favorite toy. Now we done moved on to something else. It's like, okay, well, now that the rest of the people are aware.
Oh, my God. And then the last one real quick. Let's just talk about these guys before we get out of here. Before I talk about the picks. All right, so the Lions are the Lions. The Lions lioned it. Like every single Lion, all the main characters did well. Honestly, Montgomery not being there probably cleared things up, because like J-Mo did great. Amon-Ra was fine. He didn't kill you. I think he got like close to 19 or 18 points. Gibbs was amazing still.
Laporta scored.
Yeah, Laporta scored. Goff was great. Like the main guys were the main guys. And that's honestly all you can ask for on the Lions, because always someone disappoints, but everyone ate today. In an outdoor cold game where we kept hearing like Jared Goff sucks outdoors, he didn't suck today. Gibbs, I'll talk about like J-Mo. You're not going to get this. Congratulations if you got J-Mo. He probably helped you move on to the next round. I would not be banking on getting this type of performance. But Gibbs, though, I would bank on this performance. Like, this is who Gibbs is. I honestly was expecting a little more. Not gonna lie to you. Like, I thought he was my RB1 on the week. He's gonna get all the touches he can carry, and Chicago's like awful on the ground, defending the run. So I do think that he's going to continue to be successful. You got the 49ers, who just lost another game. They're completely out of the playoff hunt. The Lions are facing them in San Francisco on Monday night. Jahmyr Gibbs is about to eat. We just saw Devon Achane just go for 30-something points. Gibbs could be the RB1 on the week again next week in the fantasy championship.
Yeah, Gibbs, I think if you weren't familiar with Gibbs is really, really good. Gibbs is
who's not familiar with Gibbs, bro?
You know what I'm saying? People who are like Kyron Williams or the big names, like
I got you.
Reese or Bijan or something like that. It's not like Gibbs was consideration for like round 1, but his talent. Have you seen this guy, like the breakaway speed, the catches that he's capable of doing? Like, I think Bijan and him are kind of like very similar guys. Like, it's just that the Bijan, the backup for him, Algier, he's good. He ain't David Montgomery, though. David Montgomery respectfully eats into what Jahmyr Gibbs, has as far as opportunity and things of that nature. But now with no David Montgomery on a high-octane offense, he's going to be like, as everyone assumes, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be unbelievable. As you mentioned, he's so good. This game with 25-plus points, you were kind of thinking like, damn, I was assuming I spotted him 30, because that's just how good the team is. This 100%. Is what you expect. Gibbs is – you going to get a chip if you got Gibbs. You in there. Don't count yourself out, because he's like that.
Because, I mean, that's like a lot of people are saying RB1 for the rest of the season. I was like, I see that. Just look at the offensive line. Look at the scheme that they have. The opponents they're facing the next couple of weeks. It's all set up for him. And like you said, if there was no David Montgomery, Gibbs was right in that conversation then with like the CMCs, Bijans for the number 1, like the 101. It's
sure.
only because Montgomery's there that there's even a consideration. But Gibbs, like you said, contact balance, speed, just hands out of the backfield. Him and Bijan truly amazing route runners out of the backfield if they were utilized
Yes.
that like that more. Um, and now there's no Montgomery. At least for the next few weeks, it seems like Montgomery may come back in the playoffs. But at least for fantasy, championship winning guy, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
Oh, I didn't want to skip over this, but do I have the graphic? I got to own up to the Patrick Taylor. All right, so Patrick Taylor, man. I told some people to start him. I actually probably told a lot of people to start him. This is my mea culpa to Patrick Taylor. He was garbage. I think he gave about like 3.5 points. He was awful. I knew he was awful as a player, but I was like, opportunities over everything. He's going to get the opportunities. You got Debo scoring down there. He's getting carries. Like he didn't actually get the opportunities. Miami is a tough run defense. I'll give you that. But I was just thinking he's going to catch some passes. He's going to get touchdown scoring opportunities. I told people to start him over Kendrick Miller. We don't know what that's going to look like, but I think Kendrick Miller is going to get over 3.5 points. I also told people to start him over Jerome Ford. Yeah, the Jerome Ford one's tough because that one was, I didn't think either player was super great. I thought Jerome Ford was a better player than Patrick Taylor. And the thing that's the kicker is, and it continues this week, every single running back who's faced the Cincinnati Bengals has either scored a touchdown or got 90 yards rushing. And Jerome Ford did both of those things today. That was just a miss. That is my fault. There's no explanation for it. I am sorry. I messed y'all up. I pray that you guys had JT as well. I pray that you had Chuba or somebody else to boost that up. Hopefully some of the other running backs did better. But man, let's just chuck that up to it. That's a loss right there. That's a loss.
Yeah, I mean, the saving grace is you assume the 49ers running back is going to be able to produce. That's just how things have been. It's, you could plug anybody in there. I feel like I should be able to run the ball well if they needed me to run the damn ball in 49ers. Yeah. So I understand where you're coming from.
We found the person who can't, though.
Found
him, precisely. Got him. Yeah, so game picks on the week. Don't want to spend too much time on it. Fine week, okay. Actually, not fine week. It's like kind of got a couple losses in there. I think I'm looking at 6 losses I didn't count for because the 49ers also lost. I mean, more wins and losses will always be the case, but not the best week. Thank you guys so much for hopping in here. We're going to get this going again next week. Next week, championship week, hopefully you guys have made it. But even if you haven't, again, make sure you stay tapped in because it is critically important to pay attention this time of year. This is how you win the championship next year. If you're not paying attention to who's going off, you're not paying attention to these late season trends, like for instance, like Chiga Conko starting to turn into something down the stretch, stuff like that, you're going to miss these players when it's time to draft in 2025. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I appreciate you guys always. And Eric, I don't know if you got any words for the people.
I think what you just said is the most important thing we've said the entire show. You must continue paying attention so that you can be ahead of the players who people might have forgotten about next season.
Yep.
You got to be plugged in. This is essential.
100%. That's how you win championships. And we're still, hey, I didn't even ask you, how many are you in right now?
I'm still alive and only 1. Played 4, gotcha. Only alive and 1.
Gotcha. It looks like I'm going to be alive in 2, actually the only 2 I'm still in. I'm still going to be alive after this week. So that's at least good to see. But yeah, as we get to the end of the year, happy holidays, guys. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, all that good stuff. Make sure you guys stay safe. And next week is a crazy week, so make sure you guys stay tapped in the Player Profiler. I mean, we got games on Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Really lit week of games. You want to make sure you guys stay tapped into that. Appreciate you guys as always. Take care. Peace out.
Peace.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.